everyone, my name is Stephanie and welcome to my channel. This is gonna bug me if I don't do that now. Okay. So today I want to talk about how I beat bulimia and some of the factors that are still causing me problems to this day. So it's just going to be me talking to the camera, and I apologise if at sometimes I don't look directly at the camera. When I get nervous, I look everywhere but like straight forward, which you can tell I'm nervous right now because I'm like looking everywhere around the room. I had to write some notes down, so I'll also have a look at my notes. But I'm just hoping that this video might help just one person to kind of understand what they're going through, or understand mental health better, or understand what someone else might be going through. Then it's worth making, right? I see a lot of people talking about how they beat bulimia, but not about the effects that they have after beating bulimia. And I think that that's the topic that a lot of people don't talk about because they think, yay, I've beat bulimia, woohoo! And then like all these other side effects, they think it's just something else that's a different problem, and then it's not linked. And I just want to be the person to be like, there is a massive connection and it needs to be discussed. And I think it's important that other people are just aware of it, because yeah, it might help someone. You might even help someone's life. I don't know. You're just gonna help them, okay? I also scratch when I'm nervous, so stop scratching and moving about stuff. It's not good to you. But anyway, yes. So my name is Stephanie. I beat bulimia, but I have issues, and this is what the video is about. 2 minutes in and I barely even started. Okay, right, so first of all, I want to start at the beginning. I want to talk to you about my bulimia, how I became bulimic, and kind of my journey and how I beat it eventually. So we start at the very, very beginning. I became bulimic when I was about age 9. Yes, very young. So I became bulimic because I was a little on the chubby side as a kid. I wasn't like, you know, a normal sized child. I was slightly chubbier, but not by much. Literally like maybe an extra stone at the most. But I used to hang out with this girl. Let's call her Tamara. And she was a big girl, extremely big for her age, probably double the amount that a child of that age should have been, if not 3 times the amount. And because I hung around her, obviously the attention was then drawn on me, the fact that I was slightly bigger than the other girls. I mean, there were other girls that, you know, were the same size as me, but because they didn't hang out with Tamara, they didn't get this attention. And so when Tamara was being bullied for being overweight, I would also be bullied for being overweight. And that then kind of led me to begin to think, what can I do to, you know, be slimmer? And my mum knew that I needed help as well, and she would prepare like healthy meals for me, but I was a really picky eater. So for her, I think it was just a case of just give her something to eat. So it wasn't necessarily the best food for me, but my mum was doing the best she could for me, being such a fussy eater that I was. So I would just eat anything batty, really. I didn't eat properly, and that's no fault of my mum's. That's just me being a picky eater. So after the bullying, after that kind of stuff, I decided that I would be sick. I would be sick after eating, because that way I wasn't getting any food in me. So I would eat what I enjoyed, and I would, you know, eat it all up. And then once I'd eaten that, I would be sick straight away. And I started doing it at school. So I would have breakfast at home, I would go to school, and I'd be sick in the morning. I'd have lunch at school, and then I would be sick. At home, I would say I wasn't hungry, or I wasn't really feeling anything to eat. Or I would eat what I had for dinner, but I would have a small portion. Initially, I wasn't sick at home. It was mainly at school where I was sick. Eventually, I did eat my dinner at home, and then I was sick at night time. So I would kind of wait until my parents were asleep, and then I would be sick. Or I would be sick in a bin in my room, and then I would go and throw out my my trash and my garbage, so that my mum didn't notice that I was being sick. Obviously eventually she did. But you know, for a while, you know, I wasn't being suspicious, and because I was doing ballet at the time and I was eating smaller portions, I suppose the kind of weight loss went like unnoticed. It was just like, oh, she's exercising and she's eating less, of course she's going to lose weight, right? I mean, it's normal. So it wasn't really addressed. And I remember, because I have terrible teeth and I have braces now, and I had braces then as well, it was going to the dentist. I remember the dentist talking about the acidity on my teeth, the amount of acid, and how I'd probably been being sick, and like talking if I'd been unwell, and obviously Mum would be like, no, she's not been unwell. And it was kind of going to the dentist where we realised that my parents realised that I was being sick on purpose, which is why I hated the dentist. I absolutely despise going to the dentist because of this fact, and I didn't put two and two together until I was a bit older. But yeah, I hated going to the dentist. If I had to go to get my braces done, I would be sick at the dentist, I would gag, and yeah, I hated it, absolutely hated it. When I had my braces taken out, I would constantly be losing my retainer, and part of that was not because I was putting it down or losing it, was because when I was being sick, the retainer would fall out and it would be in the toilet. I'm not going to pick that up. So I was constantly losing my retainer, which meant I constantly had to go back to the dentist and get retainers. Yeah, it was terrible. You know, I just tell my mum, oh, I just lost it. I put it down somewhere and I can't find it. But no, it was going down the toilet with the rest of the contents of my mouth. Then when I got to about 11, I think I was, I had appendicitis and I had to go into the hospital and I couldn't eat. And this kind of happened for like 2 weeks where I couldn't eat. I was very weak, but I didn't realise how weak I was at the time. But yeah, I was very, very weak. I had my appendix out and then I didn't want to eat. Hey, I'd been, 2 weeks without food. I didn't need food anymore. I've done 2 weeks without food. So for a while I just didn't eat. Or at home I would eat, but again I would then just be sick. But at school I didn't eat anything. Or I would have a pop ice, or if I did eat in front of my friends, I would then go and be sick. But normally, I would just, hey, I don't need to eat. I'm not hungry. I'm fine. I don't need food. It's fine. So there was a lot of that. And when I got to secondary school, I wasn't bullied for my weight because by this time I was tiny, and I was, of a normal size. And then I just got slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, and I got sicker and sicker and sicker. And I had accidents at school, which is very, very embarrassing when you're at secondary school and you're having accidents, because I couldn't control anything, because I had no control over my body. My body just did whatever the hell it wanted to do because I was so sick, and I didn't realise, nor did anyone else realise how sick I was. But it got worse and worse and worse, and kind of around year 9, I started to get bullied for being too slim, which is crazy when you think about it. I've gone from being bullied for being too big to being bullied for being too small. I wasn't developing at the same level the other girls were. I probably didn't start developing boobs till I was like 16. I remember having training bras on when I was getting changed in like year 9, and other girls had proper bras on, and there's me with just this little piece of cloth over my boobs, kind of like what I'm wearing today. And these other girls have bras and they have hips and they're wearing thongs and stuff, and I still look like a 10-year-old child. I'm not developed. My hips did eventually come through, and when they came through, and I was nicknamed Shakira, because those hips did not lie. But it wasn't until I was like 14, 15 where I started to develop. And I don't even think I got my period until I was about 14, 15, and the other girls were getting it like 11, 12. So I was very underdeveloped, and when I did develop, it came like a big shock. And when I did get my big hips, I hated it because all of a sudden I've gone from being like this to now having these big hips and this big bum that comes with it, and I was not having that. So that made my bulimia get even worse. I felt like perhaps I kind of like, you know, plateaued a little bit, and then all of a sudden big hips, big bum, whoosh, back down again to being sick every single meal, not eating again. It was bad. It was really bad. And my prom dress, when we went to get a prom dress, we couldn't afford very much. We just went to TK Maxx, but that wasn't a problem. I didn't really care about that. I went to TK Maxx, got this lovely prom dress. I think it was only like £40. It wasn't very expensive, but it was lovely. It was perfect. It's what I wanted. It was a nice slinky kind of dress. It was lovely. But it was a UK size 4, which in America is a 0. And it was too big. And that's when I realised, so, well, actually, when I realised was when we went to get the prom dress taken in by a family friend. She was going to take the prom dress in for me. And I got really upset because I realised in that moment I am wearing the smallest UK size they do, and I'm too small. I realised then that there was a problem. I had a problem and I needed help. I know I was going to college the next year, and I did counselling at the college, and I thought, right, when I go to college, I'm going to get the help I need. So, 16-year-old me plods along off to college, happy as Larry. Now, the college does great food. Oh, their cheesy chips and their pasta and their chocolate brownies. I still remember them very, very fondly. I also kind of remember them being in the toilet. Not a fun memory, but not always. And that is where the story kind of takes a bit of a turn. At college, I started getting counselling, and I got counselling for kind of like issues with my parents' divorce that I didn't even realise I had. I got issues with just like rejection, I got issues from being bullied, and I got issues from this food and where this food came from the bullying and stuff like that. And eventually, you know, after the 2 years of college, I felt like I had the world under my belt and I was ready for this. I was ready for this stuff to happen. But I didn't go to university straight away. I took a gap year. And in that gap year, I met someone, let's call her Lisa. Now, Lisa also had eating difficulties. And me and Lisa would, you know, just talk about our mental health, our eating disabilities. But instead of trying to get better, we both got worse. And, you know, I started taking laxatives on top of being sick. Because I thought, hey, this is, you know, I don't have to be sick if I take a laxative. So there was a lot of abuse of my body for that. But then I went to university and I didn't really talk to Lisa anymore. I mean, spoke to her a little bit and I saw her a little bit, but we kind of lost touch a little bit. She's lovely now and she's doing really well and she has a daughter and everything's brilliant for Lisa. But you know, for me, I think losing that contact was a vital piece because I then was kind of on my own. I went to university where none of my friends from home were at, and I had this classroom full of 40 odd strangers. I had no idea who they were. Turns out these people were amazing, and I don't think they even realise how much they helped me. And still chat to them now, and we still go away on like uni trips, or not really uni trips. We were 30 years old now, but you know, they were just brilliant. They taught me so much about myself. They taught me so much about being confident, and their confidence, just being around this positive ball of energy of this amazing cohort of people, just made me kind of truly find myself and become a more bubbly person and stop abusing my body and just accept me for me. And I'd never like been in a situation where, you know, like the guys were like, oh, you're really fit, May. You know, oh, you're so attractive. I'd never had people call me attractive at all. Even though I had a partner and they were well aware of that, you know, but it was just like funny, stupid flirtation. And I felt on top of the world, on top of the absolute world. I really did. So yeah, that changed my life, and I just kind of let myself go, and I just had fun. And there were probably some of the best 3 years of my life, honestly. It was brilliant, and I can't thank them enough for all they did for me. But yeah, 3 years later, after the end of university, I take a year off. I do a little bit of working just to get a little bit of money behind me again before I then went back off to university to do a PTC. But yeah, that's, you know, end of university, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I beat this. I've nailed this on the head. Woohoo! And, you know, for a couple of years, I was really, like, just happy. But then I started to get really anxious. I started to be depressed. I started to get worried about food. And these kinds of issues that I have now. And this is kind of the stuff that I really want people to know about, because yes, I went through all of that. Yes, bulimia was caused through bullying. But what happens after you beat bulimia is not spoken about. And this is kind of the important bit that I think needs to be spoken about. So what I suffer from now is PTSD in the form of that I can't vomit. Whenever I vomit, I'm constantly thinking, oh my God, if I'm sick now, I'm gonna go back to my ways of throwing up all my food. So whenever I feel ill, whenever I feel nauseous, it's just fear. I have a fear of being sick. This is for sure. And I get so scared of, like, if I lose a couple of pounds, like, I'm trying to lose weight because my BMI is a little bit too high and I want to be healthier. But sometimes, say if I lose 3 pounds in a week, I'll then get really scared and I'll be like, oh my God, I've lost too much weight. Oh my God, I'm going to go back to my ways. And, hey buddy, my cat's here. And, you know, I get worried about it. And so I will binge eat. I'll just eat loads of crap food, and I've gotten a lot better at not binge eating now, and I'll tell you why in a second, like what I'm doing to help recover. But it is, and I get really anxious around food. If I'm going to a restaurant with someone, I want to know what restaurant we're going to so I can look at the menu beforehand, so I kind of know what type of foods they do, so I know how many calories are in a meal or in a drink. I get really worried about that type of stuff. So for me, there's a lot of anxiety around food, and around losing weight. And that's something that no one told me was going to happen. They were like, once you've beat bulimia, that'll be it, well done. But it's not. There's so much anxiety around food. And this fact that I can't be sick when I'm ill. I can't be sick. I will hold in my vomit in the hope that it will come out the other way. I will perhaps take a laxative to get rid of it instead of being sick. And that's something that's really, really hard to cope with because everyone gets ill. Like, I know when I go out, I won't drink myself silly because I might be sick. So I won't have that other shot. I won't have that extra drink that's going to make me fun stuff because I'm too scared that if I have that extra drink, then I will need to be sick. So there's a lot of issues around socialising as well, which most people probably don't realise because I put up a very good shield. But that's there, and that scares me. And I also won't eat certain foods because they might have a wrong texture, and that texture might make me want to be sick. And that's a really strange thing, I know, but that's what happens. But I am on the road to recovery. And the things that have really helped is I have gotten hypnotherapy. I've gotten hypnotherapy of that I'm in control of my food. I'm in control and it's okay to vomit. It's okay to, you know, perhaps eat something bad and then not feel like you want to vomit, or eat something bad and then just weigh up your next meal with something else, or to exercise, and just, it's a balancing act. And I've really got to, like, excuse me, it's it's a balancing act, okay? It's a balancing act, and the hypnotherapy has really helped. It's expensive, I'm not gonna lie. Hypnotherapy is very expensive. I've only had 2 sessions. I probably need at least another 10, but I can't afford it. And it's at least £60 a session for an hour. It's a lot of money, but it has helped already. And I have the recordings, I listen to the recordings of my hypnotherapy sessions, and it really does help. Okay. I have hair in my mouth. each week I prepare a food plan. It's good for my partner as well because he then knows what we're having for dinner, so he can do his lunches. But this way it helps me to balance my meals. I can give myself a treat. I only eat cereal once a week because it's quite carb heavy. I know that might sound crazy to some of you, but I try not to have many carbs because that makes me feel guilty. So I just have cereal once a week as like a treat. By having it as like a nice treat, it makes me feel good for having it instead of bad. And that's how I need to see food. I need to see food as fuel, as something good, which is, the hypnotherapy has been helping me with that. But the food plan really helps because I can stick to it. Some days I'm like, I don't really want scrambled egg, I'd rather have a fried egg. I can switch that up, but it's a guide to help me with my calories, which is super, super good for me. And then as well as the food plan, I also use the MyFitnessPal app to keep a food diary as well. So it's not just like my main food. I can choose whatever snacks I want, I can choose whatever drinks I want, things like that. So it helps me to keep track of that as well. And then if I've had a really bad day with like alcohol or something, I know, hey, tomorrow you're not going to have that many alcohol, you're going to have healthier snacks. It just helps me keep that balance there. I go to the gym 3 times a week, and we also have a cross trainer in our house as well, which I try to use at least once a week. Really should be using it probably twice a week. And then I also have a rest day. And at the gym we're currently seeing a personal trainer. I'll call him Rob. I don't know if he wants to use his full name, but I'm just going to call him Rob. And Rob is brilliant. He's a fantastic personal trainer, and he trains me and Darren at the same time. But yeah, I think it's super important to have a personal trainer because they can help you push your limits. At the same time, they're going to look after you and they're going to check in on you. And we have like a little weekly check-in sheet, which is fantastic. So that's really been super helpful to know how to exercise correctly, how to get good form, what type of exercises we should be doing to help us get stronger. And that's kind of our goals. Yeah, like I want to lose a little bit more weight, but overall I want to be stronger, fitter, healthier. That's my goal. And I think just talking to my partner, I literally have the word partner written down here, and talking to him about my issues, being more just being more open about any problems that I have, letting him know if I'm having a bad day, letting him know if I'm worried about something. He's very good. He's been very supportive. He has been helping with the personal training. We're paying for it, which is just amazing because I wouldn't be able to afford that and the hypnotherapy at the same time. Yeah, he's so supportive, and I think you don't realise how supportive other people are of you until you go and talk to them, because I think people want to help other people. It's just our nature. We want to help others. And when you talk to someone, they might not have all the tools and the resources that you might need in that present time. If you can just tell them what you're going through, they can kind of understand that a little bit more. They can help guide you to tools that you might need. They can say, have you thought about this? They're putting it in a different perspective for you. And it's just so important to talk to others about what you're going through. I think that's pretty much it for me. I'm extremely surprised I have not cried during this video, considering I'm such an emotional wreck most time. I think probably because I've written this out about 4 or 5 times of what I was going to say, and I've just been so about it. But when you beat bulimia, that's not the end of bulimia. Bulimia will always be there in the back of your head, a little disease just like in the back of your head. Yes, it makes that sound. It's always there. It's always a little voice inside of your head saying you shouldn't eat that, saying, oh, you've lost a lot of weight. It's always there. It's always nibbling in the back there. So when people say, oh, I beat bulimia, you beat the throwing up portion of bulimia. Or if you've beat anorexia, you've beat the not eating part of being anorexic. There's always that little voice in the back of your head that is going to tell you you're not eating enough food, that is going to tell you, hey, have a little binge, you've earned it. There's always that, oh my god, you know, like, you can't vomit, that fear, that PTSD that you've got from being sick, and all those bad memories that, and the things that are associated with being sick. It's always there. It never goes away. Okay, I might cry now. But yeah, I think it's super important for everyone to know what still goes on in my head, and will probably still go on in my head for a very, very long time. And I just have certain coping mechanisms that I put in place, like not drinking too much, or, you know, like taking a laxative when I feel sick instead of being sick. But yeah, I just go talk to people. The Mind UK website, I'm raising funds for them, and I'm going to keep raising funds for them throughout. Just, yeah, all this time I'm going to raise funds for Mind UK, because their resources have helped me so much. They have live chat, which has helped me. They have videos that help you. They have CBT, which can really help change your mind, change your perspective. They have guides on meditation, which I meditate 4 or 5 times a week now. Super helpful. Sorry. And also, I think it's really important to exercise, because exercise releases endorphins, and endorphins make you happier. And I just think it's, yeah, I think exercise as well is like time for you, time for growth. You need to make time for yourself. You need to make time to grow. You need to allow that space, that time for yourself, because everyone has a monster in their head. Everyone's monster is different. Everyone's monster says different things, does different things, works in different ways. Allow yourself time for yourself and just grow. But also be happy with where you are now, because where you are now is very different from where you were a year ago, where you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even yesterday. You've come a long way. And for some people, just waking up in the morning is progress. Never forget that. But also be thankful for what you have. Be thankful. Every night before bed, me and my partner do this thing. 3 things you're grateful for. And it can be as simple as, I'm in this cozy bed right now. I have food in my stomach. I have fresh water that comes out the tap. Just 3 things that you're grateful for that day, and then 1 thing that you're looking forward to tomorrow. I am looking forward to going to the hairdresser's tomorrow. I'm looking forward to playing on The Sims tomorrow. It can be simple. I'm looking forward to a nice home-cooked meal tomorrow. Something that's in your control is what we agreed on as well, because you might say, I'm grateful for a sunny day tomorrow, and then it doesn't come. But so something that's within your control. And that's going to make you look forward to tomorrow. That's going to make you want to wake up in the morning. So just even practicing that, if you don't want to like meditate or something. I've rambled so much. I did say that this video might be long. I did say it was all going to be in one shot, and it is. And I've barely touched my coffee, so I might need to go microwave it. But yeah, that's me. That's what I go through practically every day. I have to fight with myself. Yay! But I've accepted it, and I'm getting better, and I have my little coping mechanisms, and I'm in recovery from that. And, you know, yeah, everyone has a demon. But that's it really. I'd love it if you would like this video, if you would even share this video so that other people kind of know what happens after bulimia. I think it's important to know. I'm going to link some stuff to Mind UK as well. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel as well. I'm doing videos about not only about my bulimia, it's kind of a one-off, but about kind of me being 30 and what I'm up to and trying to be an adult, such as getting married and having babies and buying houses and moving and stuff. Woo, adulting. But yeah, that's my story. Thank you for listening. Bye now.